Well, hello YouTube. I am working on a Celtic quilt. I won't lie, I have been working on this quilt for like 10 years on and off. Okay, so with working on this quilt for about 10 years, I get frustrated, I box it up, and then I run across it again. And I work on it a little bit more and I get frustrated and I put it back in the box. I really want to finish it this time. Really just want it done. So what I'm using for this is a solid background fabric, a printed fabric, and then black bias thread to bias tape to edge it. You can get single fold or double fold. I'm using double fold because it's all I could find in a 1/4 inch width, very narrow. So when I say very narrow, I mean very narrow. I got mine at Joann Fabrics years and years and years ago. Can't tell you what I paid for it back then, but I can put a link, I'll put a link to it below where you can order from Joann's now. This is something you can also get from Hobby Lobby, sometimes Walmart, and I think they have it on Amazon too now. So I use the bias tape to start off sticking down my bias tape. I use Lite EZ-Steam II, 2-sided pressure sensitive fusible tape. Can also be ironed, and I haven't opened. And I got this at Hobby Lobby because Joann's was out. I've also had this for years, but it comes on a roll. There's actually 2 rolls in here, and it's got like a peel off paper on one side and then your adhesive stuff on the other. Okay, so peels off. All right, and that's what I'm using, and that's 1/4 inch to put onto my bias tape to position it on my fabric. And I iron it down, and then I go back and I stitch it down. I'm stitching using my machine with black basic thread, all-purpose thread, and a bobbin with the same black thread. I have sewing scissors for cutting fabrics. I have regular scissors for cutting paper. But to make my little petals, I cut a piece of cardstock into the shape of a teardrop. And then I use Heat and Bond, sold by the sheets. I got this at Hobby Lobby. And I don't know when I bought this, it's been years, but this is $3.59 then. I don't know what it costs now, I'll have to look that up. But it comes in a big sheet, and I have actually been working at cutting this one down, using it. But what I do is I take a pencil, I take my teardrop shape, I put it down on my paper, and I trace it. Each of my squares for my quilt take 6 petals. 6 petals that I cut out off this paper where it's got the heat and stuff on the other side. So I would cut that out. I'm going to put this away. You know, the magic of TV. I have 6 cut out, and we're going to make the new one with this flower print as my petals, and this is my background. So that's ready for that. You're going to need pins. I've got a dark pencil and I have a white pencil. These are both fabric use pencils for writing on fabric, which means it'll wash off the first time you wash it. And sewing scissors. So I'm going to pause from here. I'm going to clean this up a little bit so we can begin making our square Celtic applique. Okay, so I've got my printed fabric. I have my 6 little teardrops. I'm going to put them on the back side of my printed fabric. I want to kind of capture the print of the flowers. And I'm going to iron this down so my fan overhead doesn't, and it just irons down. Okay, let's put this one here. Some people will get real picky and want the same pattern on each one. I don't like that. I like things to be just a little different. Each petal to be just a little different. So I get them ironed down. I'm going to turn that off. Cool off my fabric a little bit. And there they are. Now we will cut them out. But because we're cutting fabric, I'm going to use my fabric scissors. So first I'm just going to go and cut them into some squares. You know, separate them. This little piece of fabric I'm going to put with the other, because I will use that in paper piece quilting that I do. I will save that. All right, I'm going to take these over and sit down so we can trim them out. Now I can sit and talk to you while I trim these out. So my husband really likes bright colors, like the brighter the better. He is not a dull and muted kind of guy. We sleep under a quilt that his nanny, Mamaw, I think that's what they call her, Mamaw. She passed away some time ago, but a quilt that she made for him. So this quilt will go, once we get a camper again, will go in our camper for us to sleep under. Because he just has a thing for quilts. His family makes them. been passed on through the family for generations, and it's just heritage, you know, things that matter. But he's been begging me for years to make him a quilt. I made him a lap quilt. He's like, this is nice and all, and I'll use it, but this is not what I meant. He was like, I want a big quilt. And so this will be my very first big quilt. I've done baby quilts and things, but this will be my first queen size quilt. And I wanted it to be different than the quilts his family makes. His family makes, well, applique quilts with the little bonnet. I don't know what that quilt is called. Little bonnet girl on it, and the double wedding ring, and log cabin, and piecemeal quilts. But they have, none of them have done a Celtic applique. So I figured I wanted to be different. I wanted mine to be different. And I have figured this whole thing out on my own. Well, I did some research online and stuff, but this is a little, you'll find a similar pattern. Mine's just a little different. But that's okay. No two quilts are alike that are handmade. So I will let you guys, I will show you guys how I made one square. And that's how, you know, I'm making this one square. I'm not going to make you suffer through all of the squares. I've already made 7, but I need to make another 7. And then I've got to do my special center thing. Now that I will tape. That I will share what I'm going to do for his big center. But it's going to be a little while. I have special stuff ordered to do that. The main background of this quilt will be black. And the back of the quilt will be blue with a tiny pattern in it, but from a distance it looks like blue jean material, but it's cotton. And I'll be using a cotton batting, thin, because my husband doesn't like heavy quilts. And I'm making it for him. If it was for me, I'd probably have 6 layers of the thick stuff, because I get so cold so quickly. But I have very low blood pressure, and that's a constant problem. And I can't sleep till my feet are warm. So that's just how it is. So I'm almost done cutting this out. And then I'm going to show you how I figure out my positioning of my petals, because I want them to be fairly in the same position, but I put the others that I've done under it so they're just kind of off. I don't want them identical. Till I'm happy. Let me just tell you how special I am. Okay, I cut it out. I got to take the paper off the back. See, it's shiny now. That needs to be there. Silly grandma. Pin this down. Pin that down. Okay, so I got all paper peel off. All right, so I'm gonna pin that one right there. Nope, too far over. There we go. My husband's family originated from the hills of Kentucky. Nope, not gonna work. Nope. Quilts are very big in the Appalachia Mountains. And also, majority of the petals made for his quilt are from his Meemaw's fabrics. I inherited the quilting fabrics from the Meemaw when she passed. So I'm trying to use as many of his Meemaw's fabrics as possible. This pink, solid pink, is actually from his Meemaw's collection, and several, there was some I just had to fill in. This always takes a while. You know, I could have gotten a big card and put the holes, cut these holes out with an X-Acto knife so that, you know, each one was exactly the same. I don't like things to be exactly the same. I like to work each and every piece a little different. It's just, oh, that's, nope, that is pin. Okay, that's just me. I just had to move that one over a hair. Let's see if we can get this to in. No. All right, so we're gonna move this over a little more. But you just play with it until you got it in a spot that makes you happy. There we go, I think. Yep, that'll do. All right, let's pin these down. And then we will go back over to the ironing board and then iron these in place. Now we're back over at the ironing board. Turn my iron back on. Toby, get. My daughter's dog. All right, I'm going to pull this pin out. Put that one into place. Okay, now I'm going to pull this pin out. And I'm going to iron that one down. Just a few seconds. Pull that one out. Iron that one. Hold this one down. Pull that pin out. Iron that one down. Yeah, this pink fabric turns purple. I like purple when it got heat on it, but it goes back to pink. Put a little bit on here. Pull that pin out and iron it down. Just a few seconds. And voila. I love that. Hold on. Let me get the black. All right. Bias tape. I got it. And I have my iron-on stuff on the back. A little slurp of my drink. So we've got to pull the paper off. Ugh. Thank God for fingernails. We're not going to pull it all off because I don't know how much of this I'm going to use. And I am going to have one of my that are finished close by. So I started there. And I'm going to, whoops. So I like to know, because this is double fold bias, I like this on the inside. I like my open part on the outside. I just find that that makes it easier to go around the circles of the outer petals. It does twist as you're going, so be prepared to have to untwist it. It's kind of like working with my rope. There, I got one petal done. I want to make sure it's going to stay. Quick press. No needles, no pins. Now we're going to go to this one. So I'm going to rotate this around a little bit. I'm going to open up some more of my tape. So this is now going to cover my start. And come around. Do a quick iron of that section, just so I know it'll stay. And I'm going to iron it down. So there's 2 petals. Now I'm going to go to the third. Pull some down. And I'm going to iron that down. Okay. Okay, I'm going to rip some of this off. This is going to get on my nerves. All right. So now we're going to go around the curve of this one. Iron it. Okay. And iron it down. Little heat. All right. Okay, iron that section down a little bit. There we go. Start working my bend. What in the world? Getting a knot. That's just crazy. All right, so we're gonna work this around. And I would like a little bit of pink, even if it's just a little bit, between the black and the next petal, okay? Personal preference. All right. And I'm going to work into that next, oops, that peeled off, that didn't work real well. All right. That means I got to find the end, rub my nail on it till it rolls up. I can peel some more. Okay. So I'm going to the last petal. And I'll work this around. And iron it down. I might actually have enough. Well, I should. Well, that's exciting. To come around. Okay. Iron that. You hear that weird sound my iron's making? So I paid a lot of money for this iron, like 80 bucks. Thinking this is going to be great for my quilting and sewing. There's no steam on it. It is a solid bottom, right? No. No. See? Solid bottom. I have to keep taking it apart to put the weight back in it. The screw that holds the weight in place inside is so damn short, it only gets 2-3 threads in, and it comes apart. Which maybe I'm going to have to videotape me putting my weight back in place in this iron, which I feel that spend $80 for an iron. Shouldn't have to do that. But you know, who am I? Who am I to say what's right and what's wrong? This iron is, the brand is Continental. But I think I might try to find a screw to replace it. But you know, right now at this time when you really aren't going out, I'm just suffering by having to put that weight back. I just haven't done it in a week and a half or so. All right, so there's.
I need to get done ready to go.
Okay, there it is. And I'm going to pause here before we sew. All right, now we've moved to the sewing machine. Now we have this iron down, we can sew it down. All right, so now lift that up. Make sure my strings are all going straight to the back. And I kind of want to see, oh, there it is, that's where my stop and start are. And I am going to go around close to the edge on the outside. So I'm going to take a few forward, take a few backward, go forward. I can't sew this fast going on bends, so I'm taking my time. And that's one petal. Now we're going to go across, go to the next petal. Second petal, going across. Okay, while we have it here, I am going to trim my beginner threads because I don't want them to get all wrapped up and sewn. Into the other areas. So I got this trimmed. Evaluate. I'm going to go into petal 3. Petal 4. close to the edge. It's okay. Now, a lot of people would hand stitch this down. I tried. That makes me absolutely insane. I just... I didn't have the time or the patience. To be hand stitching it down. I'm not even gonna lie. I still had 3 kids in school at the time when I started this quilt, and it just wasn't going to happen. Between scouts and band and raising all those kids, yeah. That just wasn't going to happen. That's something I could do if I wasn't ready to start my own business. But now that I'm going to start my own business, yeah, I don't have time for that. What am I doing? Back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up. I don't know why I keep going off the edge. Okay, so I've gone around on the outside of the bias tape. Now, I'm back at my beginning where I started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come across and finish this bottom part here. I'm going to go back. I'm going to cross over to the other side. And I'm going to start stitching the other side. And I'm going to do around through the inside. So I'm going around these twice. The outside holds down the outside of the bias tape and closes it up. Going close to the inside of the bias tape here helps secure that, the petals down in, and that side of the bias tape. Davey.
What's up, man? Where you going?
Sorry for the interruption. Life happens. All right. So there is one petal completely done, both sides of the bias tape. Going into the second petal. So that one's done. 2, 3 petals completely finished. And we're going into the 4th petal. Fifth petal. Sixth petal. They're all complete. I'm going to backtrack, lock my stitch, bring my needle all the way up, pull it. Now trim these strings. Trim the one on the back. And there it is. One finished square. So I hope you enjoyed this for Celtic applique. Now you can either do it on a print background with solid, or a print background, nothing inside the petals, just the outline of the bias tape, which a lot of them are, and that's what the center will be. It'll be one solid color with a colored bias into a design, not this design, but a design, and that's what the middle will be. So once I have the other 6 of these completed, or 5 of these completed, which I'm not going to make you watch, and I begin the middle, I will tape what I do for the middle, and then I don't know how I'm going to quilt it yet, but we shall see. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you real soon. Bye.